starting to draw. Okay, so you can start with the pencil, but the problem is that you and seeing if I can practice doing it myself. That's what I'm showing you here, how I try quickly to practice what I have old paintbrushes because I don't want to ruin top of an old cake pan. And I have not really, I mean, I've done for it, but not the way that I want to do it today. So we'll see how this goes. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is I want to create a scene where this girl is on the beach. So I'm going to she's in the water. And then I probably want to have some different pieces of it. It's some really difficult to do all sorts of things. But I know that I'm most likely going to one in gray, but I'm trying to use just whatever's in this little cookie tin instead of digging in with all my paint. Just see what I can. I might add some gray, we'll see. I like the heavy gel mat because it's almost textured, but I also like that it will help me bring this together slightly. I have this Prussian blue, and I also have, let's see, where did it go? I have this Prussian blue, and then I have this Liquitex acrylic ink. Or, you know, separate the top and the bottom. We should have a little under that. Okay, you can see that already. I usually paint in the day with sheets today. Here's the paintbrush I'm going to be using. Here is the gold. I think I'm just going to add a little touch of it to these painting / recipe making collage with everything. And I'm just going to dip the paint right into the bowl. And I don't want to be overly careful. Just want to. I found at the thrift store, that's not the price. I guess that's the price it normally is. But I just really liked this book called History of Royals. And I like the artwork in it and the wording in it. You can cut this up and use this art in your paintings if you're doing a mixed media painting or if you're doing a collage like I'm going to try. And then this is a second magazine which I've never heard of before. It's called Lula, I think, and it looks like it says United Kingdom, so I found this at the thrift store as well. Sometimes you really luck out with the thrift store when you find things from other countries or other places that you've never heard of. This is obviously very artistic. All the colors, and I don't know how much of this I'm going to rip up. It's a beautiful magazine, but I like the pictures in it. I did take this picture out, and I'm going to be using that in my collage. I'm trying to find the best way to do this without there being a lot of shadows, so I apologize if there are shadows. I did want to mention before we begin, I do have this book that I wrote called How to Draw Faces, and I'm going to include a link in the description. So for anyone who's interested in learning how to draw faces, there's just all sorts of tutorials and practice and pages that you can color, you can fill in, you can draw faces. I had a lot of fun making this book, and I'm super glad that I have it available for people if you're interested in learning how to And now I'm going to continue on. So, I have old paintbrushes because I don't want to ruin any good paintbrushes that I have. So these are just old. And I have my Mod Podge glue. Any kind of glue will work. I have all sorts of different pages that I put up. So many pretty little things that I'm going to try to create something like that. I think I'm going to put my glue in this old, top of an old can. And I have not really, I mean, I've done collage, but not the way that I want to do it today. So we'll see how this goes. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is I want to create the scene where this girl is on the beach. So I kind of want to do, maybe she's in the water kind of thing. And then I'm probably going to have some different pieces with it. I've seen some really beautiful collage out there where people do all sorts of things, but I know that I'm most likely going to paint over it, not completely, but I'm definitely going to be adding some maybe pencil or something on top of it to see what I can do. And I really like this, so I'm going to figure something out there, and I'm just going to start. And again, this is just for fun. I'm not planning on doing anything with this. I don't feel like drawing today. I feel like creating every day. And if you've been watching my YouTube channel, I'm trying to create, draw, and do something really. I'm going to this here. Look how pretty that is. Like, obviously that's an old letter. It's from the history book, the history magazine. And there's something special about old handwriting. It's so pretty. I just need to add something to the overall effect of this collage. It's rare to find a really artistic word there. Maybe I'll have it there. Nope. I think I like her here, and I think I like this here. They cut out this little crow, which I thought was really cool. And do I want it there? And then I think I'm going to try to paint around it and sort of bring it together, paint or color and go around it and see what I can do. I have some heavy gel mat and I have Titan buff paint, and I think what I'm going to do is mix a little bit of this together and then sort of go around and try to unite this whole page as one. So I've got, let's see something like that. Heavy gel mat, really very heavy. I really like it. I'm just adding a little bit of the Titan buff to it right here, and I've probably added a little too much Titan buff, but we'll see what happens. I just kind of want to go around. In a way, I want it gray, but I'm trying to use just whatever's in this little cookie tin instead of digging into all my paint. Just see what I can. I might add some gray. We'll see. I like the heavy gel mat because it's almost texture, but I also like that it'll probably bring this together slightly. I have this Prussian blue, and I also have, let's see, I don't know, where did it go? I have this Prussian blue, and then I have this Liquitex acrylic ink. I'm going to just a tiny bit. Try to match that color a little bit. There we go. And I'm getting the thick. I'm going to keep going with this heavy gel mat. I've got my paint, and I'm just going to tap it in there. Trying to create more of the horizon, or I don't know, separate the top and the bottom. I'm not looking for perfection, I'm really just looking for a feeling. Sometimes you don't know what that her to pop out more than what she was. I didn't have a chance today. Here's the paintbrush I'm going to be using. Here is the gold. And I think I'm just going to add a little touch of it to complete this painting slash mixed media piece collage. A little bit of everything. And I'm just going to dip the paint right into the gold. And I don't want to be overly careful. I just want to, interested in learning to draw and sketch. Most of you know that I like to draw in ink, and I use a Sharpie. I'll tell you why. You can gather some basic art supplies. You don't need anything expensive. Just some paper and a Sharpie or crayons or a random pencil that you have, and get started. That's the first thing you need when it comes to drawing. The second thing I wanted to say was most people start drawing with the pencil. Any pencil will do. I recommend holding your pencil lightly and practicing different shapes and just getting comfortable with different shapes in every single thing you're going to draw. If you think of it in shapes, and you've seen probably my videos where I talk about drawing like the eye from the side or drawing the nose, everything starts with a basic shape. So that's something you have to get comfortable with as well. I don't always recommend when you're just starting to learn to draw with using a pencil, simply because the majority of people will grab an eraser and they'll start erasing if they feel like it's not perfect enough, and then they'll hold their pencil really tight and they'll just like really try to be perfect with their drawing. And then you get into spending all of your time erasing and hyper-focusing on one part of your drawing instead of realizing that, you know what, maybe you can take that wonky, weird shape and make it into something interesting. Maybe everything doesn't have to be those perfect lines that you see other people doing. And again, don't compare yourself to others. That is just the worst thing you can do when you're starting to draw. Okay, so you can start with a pencil, but the problem is that you end up erasing and drawing and erasing and drawing the same thing over and over again until you get frustrated and you quit because you didn't do it perfect the first time. So that's why you'll see me lots of times drawing with a Sharpie marker, because I have to work with what I've done. Like, there's no going back, there's no erasing. I have to work with what I've created, and if it doesn't look good, how can I make it look better? Like, what lines can I add? What colors can I add? How can I make this drawing look better? So for beginners who are trying to learn how to draw, you can use a pencil to start, and I know that everyone says, oh, use a pencil, and they do measurements and get the ruler out, but ultimately, I personally think it just takes the fun out of it, and that's why I recommend using a Sharpie marker, or you can use an acrylic marker, and then you're sort of stuck with the face, and practice that way with where things fall. You can trace anything. Whatever it is that you're into, you can start tracing and learning different lines and how to draw. It just makes it easier with learning how to draw. So tracing something that's already done gives you the idea of the basic shapes. You can also add your own little, your own twist to it if you want. You can spend some time getting some tracing paper, maybe some markers, and practice drawing and coloring in. You'll see I have some videos that I've done this with, and it's a great way to learn sort of features and shading and coloring and all of that. Getting the old books, cutting them up, putting them on paper, doing some outlines and adding my own touch to it, but it really does give you a sense of shapes and how to draw. It's just a great way to practice your drawing skill. Tracing paper or old books that you can draw on and color over and add your own twist to it, but you're really learning about different lines and shapes and how to draw faces and figures or whatever it is that you want to draw. And I just wanted to showcase, this is a mixed media drawing that I did using this method that I showed you. I literally took an old book like this. This one is all faded, by the way. None of the colors are good. It has a mildewy smell to it, so it's not like I'm using a book that could be otherwise used. I get old books that are usually going to be thrown out. So I will cut this shape out and or a colored pencil to do this because I don't want to erase my mistakes. I don't want to spend all my time erasing my mistakes. I just want to practice what I'm seeing and get started. So I hope that, sorry, I get distracted when I'm drawing. I hope that this video helps anyone who is interested in drawing get started to draw without fear and just get out there, practice, don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you know what, if you're not making mistakes when you're practicing your sketches, then you can't possibly be trying to improve. You have to make mistakes. You have to do some ugly drawings. You have to create things that you don't want to share with anyone, simply because it's the only way to improve, is to practice, practice, practice. Make some ugly art. Don't be afraid to try new things. Having fun, then I'm not sure how you can possibly improve, simply because you really do have to, and you've seen probably my videos where I talk about drawing like the eye from the side or drawing the nose. Everything starts with a basic shape. So that's something you have to get comfortable with as well. I don't always recommend when you're just starting to learn to draw with using a pencil, simply because the majority of people will grab an eraser and they'll start erasing if they feel like it's not perfect enough, and then they'll hold their pencil really tight and just like really try to be perfect with their drawing. And then you get into spending all of your time erasing and hyper focusing on one part of your drawing instead of realizing that, you know what, maybe you can take that wonky weird shape and make it into something interesting. Maybe everything doesn't have to be those perfect lines that you see other people doing. And again, don't compare yourself to others. That is just the worst thing you can do when you're starting to draw. Okay, so you can start with a pencil that is, I have to work with what I've done. Like, there's no going back, there's no erasing. I have to work with what I've created, and if it doesn't look good, how can I make it look better? Like, what lines can I add? What colors can I add? How can I make this drawing look better? So for beginners who are trying to learn how to draw, you can use a pencil to start. And I know that everyone says, oh, you know, use a pencil, and you know, they do measurements and get the ruler out, but ultimately, I personally think it just takes the fun out of it, and that's why I recommend using a Sharpie marker, or you can use an acrylic marker, and then you're sort of stuck with what you've done, and you can look at it later and see where you went wrong and how you would do it differently, versus drawing and erasing, and trying to make it better. That's my first tip when it comes to beginners and drawing. The second tip I have is if you can get an old magazine or an old book and you can use tracing paper. I don't have any, this is a very old book, is that you can get really old books from the thrift store or old magazines, and you can get tracing paper or trace directly on it. I use these usually when I do multimedia artwork, but you can trace the face and practice that way. Your own twist to it if you want. You can spend some time getting some tracing paper, maybe some markers, and practice drawing and coloring in. You'll see I have some videos that I've done this with, and it's a great way to learn sort of features and shading and coloring and all of that. Getting the old books, cutting them up, putting them on paper, doing some outlines and adding my own touch to it, but it really does give you a sense of shapes and how to draw. It's just a great way to practice your drawing skill. Tracing paper or old books that you can draw on and color over and add your own twist to it, but you're really learning about different lines and shapes and how to draw faces and figures or whatever it is that you want to draw. And I just wanted to showcase, this is a mixed media drawing that I did using this method that I showed you. I literally took an old book like this. This one is all faded, by the way. None of the colors are good. It has a mildewy smell to it, so it's not like I'm using a book that could be otherwise used. I get old books that are usually going to be thrown out. So I will cut this shape out, and I will glue some of it onto a paper, and I will draw over it and around it and color it, and that's how I practice drawing figures. I have a video where I did this one, and I have a video where I did this one, and it's just a great way to practice drawing. The next thing I like to do is get vintage books or books that I love, and I try to recreate these images in my own style. I will often use like a Sharpie pen or a colored pencil to do this because I don't want to erase my mistakes. I don't want to spend all my time erasing my mistakes. I just want to practice what I'm seeing, and if I can recreate it in my own style. And I think the other thing too is when people are trying to learn is that they spend so much time trying to draw exactly what they're seeing the exact same way. And even though I am trying to draw this, I'm still trying to draw it in my own style, and I know my areas of weakness too, but it doesn't stop me from practicing. Like arms and hands could be a weakness, but it doesn't stop me from practicing, studying sort of different styles of drawing and seeing if I can practice doing it myself. That's what I'm showing you here, how I try quickly to practice what I'm seeing and drawing it in my own style. I'll just try to finish this part here before I go on to the next thing. But that's my second tip for practicing drawing. Ooh, it's not the greatest nose, but for practicing and learning to draw, that is my second tip. Get some books that you love with art in it, and it can be from the thrift store, it can be, from the bookstore, but find something that you love and try to recreate it in your own style. And I'm not talking with grids and lines and all of that. I personally don't like the whole measurement thing of drawing. What I mean when I say measurements is a lot of people will show you basically how to draw a grid. I've seen this. And then you draw a grid over, the artwork, and you try to recreate every little thing. Oh, the nose is here, and I gotta match it here, and the eye is up here, and you know what I'm talking about. If you've tried to learn how to draw, they do this grid thing, and anything for me personally to do with grids and measurements, I just toss that in the garbage simply because it takes the fun of it. It takes the fun out of it, and the joy is gone because you're so busy trying to recreate exactly what you're seeing. And in my mind, where's the originality in that? Why can't you try to draw something and you see it your own way? You don't have to see it exactly how it is in the picture, unless you're trying to draw realism. And personally, if you're following me or watching my videos, I'm not into drawing realism. I'm just talking how to learn to begin to draw and practice. And still find joy in it rather than trying to be perfect or trying to be like.
So today we're going to be shooting our second commercial for Stona. This one's going to be based on taking the cabinet from start to finish. It's done in a very artistic way. Right now we're in the assembly area. Back here is where we do all our production, which is all our cutting, our CNC machines, spraying, everything else. So this is the first step in processing our solid oak drawers. We have a great team here at Stona. They're all really artisans in their craft. Basically taking the raw lumber and processing it into finished boards that we can then glue together. We use a lot of hand tools for a lot of the fine detailed work that's involved. This is our main spray booth right here. He's in the process of mixing up some primer. So they call this type of CNC, it's called a testing. So all your tool bits are testing there. And it just comes along and picks them up and grabs them. It's all programmed. Coming up with any of these ad spots, a lot of it hinges on music. And all the imagery and everything else kind of comes with it. It seems to be on the same wavelength. I've always had a passion for 1950s, 1960s film, art, music, everything. I think that's why Skona is the way it is. My business partner and I both have this passion for mid-century modern. It's timeless, it's simple, it's beautiful. I think that's something that will set us apart. And that's it.
One of the supplies that I have and I love is China markers. That's what these are. They're called China markers, and they have these little strings, and you can sort of pull the paper off. And that's how you, instead of sharpening them, you just pull the string and pull the paper off. So the black one I love clearly, and it's not water soluble, so I can add some details here without affecting the look of this drawing. And also if I add more water to it, it's not going to smudge. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of detail here around the eyes if I can. Not much left of this. I'm just going in, I'm not really thinking, I'm just adding it where I want to. For more definition. I think I will use the Sharpie marker because I really want to get those eyes sort of mapped out. So I'm just going over it. And I don't want to go over all of it, but I want to make it stand out a bit. So I'm just like making her hair a little bit more interesting, her lips maybe a little more interesting. I like this little lines under the eyes, and I don't think I got her ears quite right, but we'll leave it for now. I'm really liking the way this looks. And I can add some eyelashes too. I am not going for realistic. I'm going a little crazy with the eyelashes, but that's okay. It's a sketchbook. And you gotta work. I feel like maybe eyelashes is an area of improvement for me. But that's okay, I'm gonna keep going because I really like the way this is looking right now. Okay. Ooh, I like her. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and see what I can do. The next thing that I have is a white acrylic marker. I like the shadows here, and I don't want to add too much color because I'm just practicing my faces. But I do want to add like some highlight in the eye area. And I might go in again and add some gray to it, but for now, I'm just playing around and experimenting and adding some highlights back in. And again, if you don't like your eyelashes, you can kind of go over them a little bit here. I feel like I've done too much. I feel like her eyes might be a little too big. So again, I might have to go in there and play with it again. I almost like the messy look here that's like smudging everything.
where that looks, so I'm gonna keep going. Alright, I'm really liking this smudgy look. I don't know if I've ruined the marker. I suppose this is one of those pumping markers that you can pump and more white paint comes out, so I don't really know if I'm actually ruining it. I don't think I am. I'm probably going to go over this again, but I really like the way this messy part looks. Alright. I'm going over everything and then I'm going to go over it again.
As a follow-up, that picture, I just went over and over and over it again, so that was the good part of the video. I redrew the face, so I drew it again, tried it again, and this is the one that I like.